the surrender was so much easier, right? Because you would do anything for your kids.
Right.
It's totally different for a spouse.
Right.
It's a different type of surrender, a similar and same surrender that is needed, but it's totally different. I didn't make him. I made you and Zoe. And so there's just a different, I almost feel like the surrender is harder for a spouse than it is for a child.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's unnatural.
Do you feel the same?
Yeah. Like, the way I would jump in front of a train for you and Zoe, I would still jump in front of the train for Kim, but it's not that, it's the instinctual is,
it's just not as natural.
It's not as natural. It's like a grown thing. And that's the part that has grown inside of me, is like being the full servant to everyone. As opposed to at one point I was kind of like hit or miss. Like some days I would serve and some days I would serve myself. So now it's the reminding of the servanthood. I like to call myself the Sherpa. So it's like, Daddy Sherpa.
So that pride, it was like a sanding down of that pride. Or like, I don't want to. And then, so slowly over time, I did see that he was changing and not aiming for perfection of like what you want in totality, but seeing just the natural mile markers that were occurring.
Okay, so now that you have HeartRock in this foggy dream for you, clear dream for you, it's really like just been made true. What do you hope for maybe the next year or the next 5 years with HeartRock, and where do you see it in 10 years?
It's like anything else, it's a journey, and we are so grateful for what we have just gotten in our first year of full-on advertising. We basically went from 2 to now 7
weddings.
2 weddings last year. Now we have 7 for next year. And of course, one of them was yours.
Yeah.
So with everything that has happened to us, and just allowing God to help guide us, and instead of like always taking the I know what I'm doing and I know what's best and I know where I'm going attitude, we are more open to allowing things to happen. Not to say that we're not proactive on infrastructure things that we want to do, and adding plants and adding gardens and adding to the ambiance of the place. That is an ongoing thing. And I would also like to not always just do weddings. Like I'd love to host like family things, or like, because we can sleep up to like 15, 16 people, to have like a family gathering, or have just something that's more on not a larger scale, but something more on a just different scale than weddings. Like where people are there experiencing it, not in a flurry of celebration, but in a extended period of time of reflection, growth, and connection with the rest of the people that they're there with. So if we, in my perfect world, if we could have weddings that are 4 days long and everybody can be there off and on, so they can connect, and they've been here and they're here to celebrate, kind of like it was back a long time ago, that it was a celebration. Like that would be one thing, but it just doesn't really resonate with
our culture today.
I
think, the reality that I see it as today, it's, having 7 weddings for next year. It's just creating this place that people feel like they can pause and really feel connected to the people that they're with. The biggest thing that Zoe stood for was love, and like loving one another. And I feel like weddings really embodies that. Like there's so much joy in a wedding, and there's so much love that is happening in the wedding. Like it's almost intense. Yeah. Like it's a very intense like vibration that is happening, and which to me makes me laugh and gives me so much joy, because that's kind of how Zoe was. Yeah. Like she gave off this like high frequency of joy that's like you almost were vibrating. And so like I feel like weddings portray her character. And then also flowers, like she, like she was always the one out there with me of like, let's plant, and she'd ride around in the wheelbarrow or encourage me to make another garden bed here or there. And so that kind of, in reality today, like those things, just as a mom, I just feel her presence so much in that. But moving forward, like Daddy said, like having retreats, I love family reunions and just gatherings where people can feel like that they can exhale and connect with whatever platform that they need with one another. Just creating a safe environment where their body can actually like let down.
Yeah.
And then also celebrations of life and places to grieve. Like it's not something that's really talked about a lot in our culture. I think people don't really quite know how to grieve. It's a very awkward, usually unsocial,
Uncomfortable.
yeah, situation. And so is this a place that people can, that there can be a new paradigm shift for just, yeah,
Just kind of outreach for any.
for people that are in hard places.
Yeah.
We've not gone through every hard place in our life, but like we clearly understand what it's like to go through hard things, and
Persevere.
and we can just sit with that person and be with them. So I see a lot of that as well.
Yeah.
But well, just to, I don't know if we either of us answered like in a 10-year picture. I mean that it's kind of one. It's not a universal direction, meaning that of course we would love to see the place still being used in 10 years. With us just kind of being more directors.
Drink more tea.
In that kind of thing. Yeah, sit back and people watch, and write our third or fifth book.
Exactly.
So that
finally read some of your mercies.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So that would be a very great thing. We have this wonderful house here to incorporate with it as well. Just even from your wedding, like the vibe of everything happening here was just like, is it poignant? Is it like it was so perfect for the moment or the day, I should say, because like you have this big house, it's elegant, everybody's doing their thing. There's a flurry of love and food and dress and dance, and there's spots for everyone to be, and then 10 minutes you're at the venue, you're walking up and boom, you're going to get married or whatever. And for other people to be able to enjoy that and be able to have that experience for their day, the day that they are a king and queen for their family. That would be super cool.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that.
That's awesome. Well, that concludes our questions for the first video, and you guys did a great job. Gold stars.
Yes.
For both of you. So, cut.